Through her husband's work, Chandler, who Victoria mentioned. Victoria and I edited a book of new concrete poetry from the year 2000 to 2015. And we included quite a few poets who were from the first generation of concrete poetry and had died since 2000, but had created enough work to be included in the book. Chandler died in June 2000. So we looked around at the time to try and find, some work by him that could fit into the book, but we just couldn't find the work. And I think it's true that Mayröcker isn't enough known in this country, but neither is Chandler either. Absolutely amazing visual poet and sound poet, and he did have moments of kind of overground attention. He performed in 1965 at the Poetry Incarnation at the Royal Albert Hall, and he came to London quite a lot, and he came to the South Bank Centre, and he performed at Poetry International. But I couldn't help thinking of those two together in the same house and living together for 50 years. They're both absolute mavericks and completely mischievous. And even though he's a visual sound poet, I could see how Mayröcker's work as well is kind of structurally quite similar to how a concrete poet might go about making something. It was Chandler who said, "I love poetry, I love pottery, but I'm not a concrete pot." So I imagine that's the kind of conversations that but this isn't about Yandel, it's about Mayröcker, and I wanted to respond to what I think is kind of her kind of leading characteristic in her work, which is the ability to write off a moment, to be in the present, and to capture that in language. Not enough poets do that. Not enough poets know how to do that, because it needs quite a lot of skill, technical skill, to capture the moment in language, because the moment's already gone, of course, by the time the poet's using those techniques to capture it. But she does it amazingly. She does it through a kind of translation of the moment into language. And along the way, it's completely compelling to be in her space, in her thoughts, and in her home, actually, because the sequence I responded to was written as a sequence of elegies for Chandler. He died in 2000, as I say, and Mayröcker wrote a long sequence called the semicolons of Rushing at Me. And it's really just about capturing that grief that she's experiencing in her domestic environment. But within that, she's responding to art. It's kind of little ejector seats of stimulus. And she's using a kind of collage technique of what's around her and what's going on in her thoughts in that moment as well. So before I read my poem, which kind of responds to that domesticity in the work, I just wanted to read a short poem by her, just so her work can be in the room. It's in translation, I'm afraid. I'm sure it's even better in German. It's an earlier poem, and the reason I want to read this one is that I think somehow this poem is written in the 70s or 80s, it's not dated. I think it really gets you inside her process as a poet, how she collects material, how she gathers material, most importantly, how she puts them together, these disparate kind of thoughts and objects that are in a language world, how she makes it work as a poem. It's called A Rain Tear of Andy Warhol's. First, I've brought it all in, got everything here. Second, to do the thing justice. Third, I've bought the latest record by George Harrison. Fourth, I've listened to Brahms' Fourth live. Fifth, I follow the conversations of passers-by in the street with my ears. Sixth, I talk to the concierge about the weather. Seventh, I collect notes from coat pockets, book pages, and the starts of dreams. Eighth, I learn from an old friend that it is still like that. Ninth, I cut a found poem entitled Artificial Rain from the paper. 10th, I don't find it good enough on the following morning. 11, I look out of the window and see that the sky's dark grey. 12, I glance out of the window again to see if it's finally raining. 13, it's not raining, however much I wish it was. 14, I catch sight of a huge dark grey reindeer of Andy Warhol's daub on my horizon. So my poem, how it really got me into thinking about the domestic spaces, you know, as a site of artistic activity. And I decided to focus on one room at home, which is the kitchen. Probably the most boring room in the house in a lot of ways, the most sanitised space. I mentioned the poem Hannah Hock, who was a German Dadaist artist, as a lot of you know, collage artist. You know, I kind of started to make them speak to each other, Mayröcker and Hannah Hock in a way. And it's this poem, it's called Hannah Hock Would Have Loved You, and it starts with 2 quotes from Mayröcker. The peach is gathering on the kitchen table, the morning sun with its claws in the sack and the medicaments on the windowsill. I am quite alone, and the chilies. And the second one is, how great the longing, how great the torsions, the distortions, the tornness of this body. Hannah Hock would have loved you, your talk of resistance, your tongue that spit squidly caps. I've never seen a blind dog with bad posture, but then I haven't seen all blind dogs. Is the washing machine a clock with an attitude problem? Is the iron an anchor with acid indigestion? Is the radio the ghost of my father? Is the cat my past venom in a panther suit? Is the rain a million reincarnated dragonflies, or is it just the rain? Is my life an excuse for not being dead? In the years since I've been a seal on this spinning ball, I have learned one thing. There's no point getting tribal over a veggie platter. No ballast in a lie to prove your integrity. The kitchen is a debating chamber dreamt to the scale of Europe. Today I shook hands with a mosquito. The washing machine turns its mechanic eye. Ballerinas explode as blue bottles. I thought the kitchen was in service of upgrade, was an operating system cool and functional as a Mac. One day it stops and we shift to the next version. The domestic is the theatre of Dionysus. That night we had a bath in lavender and silver waters, and you showed me your amethyst and star anise. Paradise is going to end soon. It's getting darker. The chaos demons want part X on this spleen. The gold cap from China is still waving at the sun. The fruit bowl gets heavier and no 2 plums ever taste the same. The last English mushrooms shrink back in the pan like the life cycle of a toad in reverse. What will this kitchen think of us while we're away? It will slow down like a thatched over country lane, a homemade film from the 80s. A fly will orchestrate coordinates, jubilant in its moon landing. This might be our last nuclear winter. September raises the flag in the wings of butterflies, long exposure in avenues of light. We would like to think we leave the ghosts on the other side of the glass. Last night they helped themselves to everything, the egg timer, the spatula, the flour scales. They whipped up soul cakes with each of our names on and ate them with a shot of Domestos, which they mistook for Calvados. They put a road through them, they followed to the stars. Now there is a constellation at sunrise. 3 gods come into my kitchen every night. They are female, but gods all the same. The first is the mother of avant-garage. The next is the mother of dream pop. And the final god arrives with an obsidian wing across her eyes. She is the god of shoegazing. When I am loose in my manger, they play for me. I write poems to the metronome of absence management. Some people hear the bowing wing of the fridge, but that is the music of the gods, the drip of the tap, the filter in the fish tank, the mulch in the U-bend. The kitchen is Berlin in the 70s, London in the poetry wars, Liverpool in a beatnik permafrost. Kitchens are connected at night by air traffic control. They pass through time zones as we sleep. The cat cuts the clean lawn and dreams of the bathroom. It is the kitchens that give us our dreams. Hannah Hott would have loved you. Thank you for listening.